Say hi now.
Welcome to the conversation of possibilities.
Thank you. Thank you, Reshma. And welcome, Deepa. Welcome to the Conversations of Possibilities for December. And like you know, we've been having this twice a month. And it's interesting how these conversations have been taking us to all um, different areas and different walks of life and different spaces. It's been fun, to say the least, for me, and I hope it's been fun for all of you who join us. And thank you to every one of you who joins us, and a special thank you to our special guest for tonight, Deepa Ramraj. Yay! Welcome, sweetie pie. Welcome, Deepa Ramraj from...
Hi, Chandana. Thank you so much for having me over.
This is so wonderful, Deepa. Deepa is from Bangalore. For all of you who, I'm sure most of you know her, but for a few of you who haven't yet met this wonderful lady, she's from Bangalore, a certified facilitator for a few years now. And she's a maestro and a talk to the entities facilitator, a conscious parents, conscious kids facilitator. And what was the right which is for you called now, Deepa?
It's called Wealth Creators Anonymous.
Wealth Creators Anonymous. I find that really interesting. I find the name itself a little frying my brain. So you can imagine what a class like that would do. Like I have to ask you, what is the name of that class, Deepa? Yeah.
Hello.
It's so wonderful.
Thank you so much. And being you.
And being you facilitator. Yes, of course. That's one of my favorite classes. Sorry, I forgot that one. I have it written out. I didn't read that out. Sorry about that. Yes.
The name will remind us, right?
Yes. And in fact, what we wanted to talk to you about today, if it's fun for you, is about being you with wealth. I mean, being you is something that we hear so very often in Access with the tools of Access, with a class being you, with a book written by Dr. Dane here being you. And it almost becomes like an autoresponder system for all of us to go to by saying, what are you being? Who are you being? Are you being you? And it's like, okay, wonderful to ask those questions, but what is being you really? And I'd love to know your journey of where you actually, if I can say, hi. You can just have everyone on mute, please, darling. Thank you. Thank you. And if you can just have, and if we can talk to you about what being you actually is all about for you and your journey to getting to know what being you is for you. Yeah, Deepa, are you there? Did I lose you? Yeah, okay.
So for me, the entire journey in the past few years since I started Access work is actually being me. And I didn't discover that until much later. For me, being you was something separate from me. And I was like, what is this thing these people keep talking about, being you, being you? I don't know who is being me, who's me, and how can I be me?
Yeah.
So it was
true.
so interesting for me. It was so interesting for me that I was so much present to what's going on for other people, their thoughts, their emotions, their stuff. I did not know what was being me. So it has been a very interesting journey in the past few years for me to discover more of myself. And what would it take for me to be more of me? And that's the question I keep asking.
Wow, beautiful. Yeah. So when you say more of yourself, is there something in particular that you're looking for, more of you, or is it like, what exactly is that more of you?
When I ask, I'm not looking for anything specific, because I found that when I look for something specific and I don't find it, then I would get into judging myself. Hey, I'm not that.
So, I'm not being me. I'm not being me.
So,
Yeah, right.
so sometimes I ask, okay, what else am I that I'm not willing to acknowledge that I am? And something new opens up again for me to say, oh, okay, I can do this with ease. So it's
Yeah.
just one of those things where, we keep discovering our own talents all the time. And we just discover, it's like a box of treasures. You say, oh, I can do this too. Oh, I can do this. Oh, I can do that too. Oh, wonderful, I can do this. So, it's just a way of creation. And in the past, for me, I had to have a reason to be happy. And most of the time, I would choose uh, some reason or the other to be unhappy, not to be happy. But I would
Yeah.
look for, see, that is not working for me in my life. This is not working. So I shouldn't be happy until everything is perfect. And I had some algorithms put in place for that. And I would find some reason or the other not to be happy. And
Yeah.
that changed for me so much in so many ways. I'm willing to be happy for no reason at all. And
Right. That is so interesting what you said just now, Deepa, about how you were looking for reasons to be unhappy, right? I mean, it's like we are almost creating a life looking for what we don't have, from the space of what we don't have, and why we need to create instead of just knowing that we can create, right? It's almost coming from a space of the need and the reasons to tell ourselves that I need to create or I need to be happy because there's so much of unhappiness. It's almost like choosing a polarity of what we've decided we have, right? And that's the beauty of when I see you and I see you in classes all around the world. And yes, we've traveled together for lots of classes. We've been in lots of classes together, and we've been in Rome on the streets shopping and drinking and eating Chinese too. And I have always admired that wherever you are, wherever you be you. So can you talk a little bit more about that? But what is that you do and be that has you, if I can actually put it this way, that you actually have the ease of just being you without the need of putting up an image or putting up a facade of being something else. So how do you do that?
yeah, right. So I'm just looking at, okay, how do I do that? So, so one of the things that was coming up for me when I started Access, or in fact, a few years before Access opened up for me, was that
Yeah.
I had some health issues, and I was like, minor health issues, but they used to be of high nuisance value and pull me down a lot. Or
Okay.
I used to allow it to pull me down a lot. Maybe I should say that.
Right.
And I used to be constantly judging, how can I have health issues? I shouldn't be having this. I shouldn't be having that problem. I should be so active. I should be doing so many things, because I was used to a very, uh, high activity. I was used to having a high activity list on my general day-to-day agendas.
Yeah.
So it was just not acceptable for me to do anything less than whatever was there on my plate. And so I would find, like, for sometimes hours together, I would be in the same place and not do anything, which was again not acceptable to me. So I was in so much of rejection of who I was, and what my body was and what it should have been, that it took me to a place that this is not working for me. I got to change this. I'm not sure how, but I really have to change this aspect of my life.
Right.
And another thing that was coming up for me was that there was this comedy that my husband, two children, and I were watching at home, and these three were rolling and all over the place, laughing because it was such an awesome comedy for all of them. And for me, none of that was funny. None of that was interest. I mean, it was interesting. I was watching it, but really none of it was
Yeah.
funny. And it
Yeah.
was so funny. I said, I have to change this in my life. I can't not laugh. What is this problem that I have that, I can't even laugh at anything? And one of the things that has changed for me in this journey is the willingness to laugh at myself. That if I do something which doesn't work for me, I say, hey, that's a great thing. It's interesting. I just chose that, and I'm willing to laugh at myself. And that has changed everything for me so hugely, so hugely. That is one thing that has got me to be more of me, and where I keep looking at where I'm rejecting myself and keep destroying and uncreating that has also helped me a lot.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Deepa. I mean, these are all moments of vulnerability that we've all been through, and very few of us, once you become a CF, you're supposed to be the perfect lady out there, right? Yet, yes, we've all had our moments of vulnerability. We still have our moments of vulnerability where we just want to reach out and have someone holding on to our hands and saying, it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. Yes, we do have the tools. Yet somewhere we're still looking for that, for just hear sometimes, to just hear from people that it's going to be okay. It's not really that bad right now. And what you just said was so interesting, because what you said was that when you were willing to not judge yourself for that, right? And when you were willing to say, oh, that's an interesting choice I made. That's literally living in the 10-second increment. I mean, that was something so beautiful you said, because yeah, what if you can actually look at even all those places where we as CFs and as BFs and using the tools of access and all the practitioners out there, and all of us are like, but I have the tools of access and I can't be not happy for even for a second. And it's interesting if you could look at those moments of not being happy as just something interesting that we're choosing. Yeah, that is so interesting. Thank you. I'm sure that would be a huge contribution to everybody on this call as of now, because yeah, I mean, just looking at everything that we are doing, which is not making us happy, that's just an interesting choice that we can change. Interesting. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Can I say something, please?
Yes, please, darling.
Yeah, thank you so much for saying that, Chandana. Where, we have all these tools and we're like, oh, I have to be happy because I have the tools, and I don't give myself the choice. And it's very interesting we do that. So thank you so much for that. And I have a question for Deepa.
Yes.
Deepa, when you say that you choose, or there's this thing that, like, what if you don't know what to choose? What if you don't know what you enjoy anymore? Or what is that? What could we do? What are the questions? What if you don't know who you are or who you would like to be?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So what if you don't know what if it's okay not to know who you are? Are you an infinite being?
Yes.
Okay, so can an infinite being be defined as who you be and who not be?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Right. So what if you didn't have to define you? And it's our definitions of where we are trying to define ourselves, that this is the way I am, this is who I am, that actually limits and restricts us. And what if we didn't have to define ourselves? Right?
Yeah, but then, like, when we are creating, like, say, for example, you're looking for to create XYZ thing, and you don't know what you want to create. You don't, like, again, that's an interesting point of view that I don't know what I would like to create. But what I'm saying is I no longer know what I enjoy doing. It's like, okay.
Right.
Everything's heavy.
What if you could enjoy every minute as it comes for no reason at all? Okay, so I just set up the laptop, for example, and what if I could enjoy that? And then I find the light is not sufficient, so I move the light a little bit, a lamp out here. I say, okay, I enjoyed this too. And then I go to the next room and I say, hey, I've forgotten my hands-free. So supposing there's something during the call that requires that, maybe I'll get a hands-free too. So I do that also. So what if you could choose ease for everything? And what if everything could be fun? What if we didn't have to define and separate, okay, this is fun for me, but picking up the hands-free is not fun, and switching on this light isn't fun, or anything like that, right? What if we could just have so much ease between one thing to another that it doesn't matter anymore? And as you're willing to be that and do that from a space of no judgment of what you're choosing, switching on the light, moving the light, whatever that is, you could create a space where you're willing to have more fun without any judgments again about it. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
So often we are looking at having fun only in, okay, see, if I have my puri and chole the way I like it, then it's going to be fun. But what he's brought for me is not the way I like it, so it's not fun. That's an interesting point of view. So,
Yeah.
right? So then we are so set about this is the right way to make puri and chole. We are not willing to receive, any food the way it appears. We have a fixed way of how it should appear and what it should look like.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because just talking about puri and chole, just the other day I watched a very interesting YouTube video where this lady is serving tandoori chole. I mean, really? That's actually creating something so irrational, right? Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yes.
So
And
when
thank
we
you for that question, Reshma.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
such an amazing question because that was, something like what I used to do earlier, where I used to say, see, I don't have enough reasons to be happy, so I think it's better I be serious. And what if you didn't require any reason to be happy? And as you're willing to choose happiness with anything and everything, life is just so much more fun.
So can I ask you something here, Deepa? It's really interesting as, we talk about something. In my head, I had, okay, I'll talk about being you and wealth. And yes, we are getting to wealth too. But before we get there, something that just popped during this conversation and with Reshma's question is about the comfortable distance that we have with ourselves. Can you talk about that? And how much of that are we using to actually being ourselves?
Right. So when we often keep a comfortable distance between ourselves and other people. And that is because we think that is the way we have to maintain our space. Unless I keep everybody away from me, I cannot recognize who I am. But
Right.
there are so many times, but how much can you live in isolation? We are always in connecting with other people, so many different ways. And what if we didn't have to do that separation and create a comfortable distance between ourselves and other people? And when we don't have like a comfortable distance between us and others, we actually start having a we stop having a uncomfortable distance between us and ourselves, and vice versa. Okay, so the thing is that some of our relationships are very clingy, needy, and we are looking for people outside of us to contribute to us rather than we have our backs. Okay,
Right. Yeah.
so that is one aspect. And the other aspect is when we are rejecting ourselves so much, we are looking to have a comfortable distance between ourselves and ourselves. So as of that is, you know, we have to look for some aspect of ourselves which we have to reject. And that
Right.
is the comfortable distance that we have with ourselves and with our bodies and with money and with being ourselves.
So every time we reject ourselves, we create something like a comfortable distance with ourselves, right? So if
Right.
we are rejecting, and the rejection generally comes from a judgment of it being wrong. Is that,
Yes,
yeah, right.
correct. So where we are judging that some aspect of us is a wrongness. For example, I get angry sometimes, so I have to reject me whenever I'm angry, or I'm not doing this, so I have to reject me. So we keep looking for reasons to reject ourselves.
Can you
And
talk a little more about, that was really interesting. But when we are angry and we have to reject something about ourselves, can you talk a little bit more about that? I'm sure that could probably be a contribution to everyone.
right. So I think everybody on this call would probably know the clearing statement: right, wrong, good, bad, hot, pop, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. So this clearing statement is to clear up whatever we made right or wrong, good or bad about any aspect. So let's look at anger, for example. Anger is, let's say, we made anger right for ourselves. Oh, I have to be angry. If I don't be angry, then people will not listen to me. So I have to shout every time and get angry and upset, and then people will listen to me. So if we make anger a rightness, we go from that space, and then we have to always be angry whenever anything doesn't take place the way we would like it to take place, or we've already defined that we have to keep being angry for us to create our lives. And does that continuous level of anger work for us is something we got to relook at. And if we made anger wrong for us, for example, if somebody shouts at us or takes off at us, then we have to be upset because they're angry with us or they're shouting at us, which doesn't work for us again. And now, in the end, because they have been angry with us, we are angry with the whole situation. So, what takes place in effect is now you're angry, and then you will find this new reason. Okay, I think I don't like me so much because I keep getting angry. So I have to reject me. So then we start, because we rejected anger to start with when we found it in others. Now that we find it in ourselves, we start rejecting ourselves.
Wow. That's so beautifully explained. Right. So it's like when we judge others and when we find the same thing in ourselves, we go into rejection of ourselves. Right? Wow. Thank you for that. Yes. I mean, how many of us have done that constantly with ourselves? And it's like, no, it's not that. It's that I'm judging the next one because I can see it. And then it's like, you're absolutely right. I mean, how many of us have that in ourselves, which is why we see that in others.
Chandana?
Yeah. Yes, darling?
Yeah. So how much is anger made wrong? In turn, we keep making ourselves wrong. We keep beating ourselves up that we're not supposed to be angry, because anger is such a bad term and anger is a no-no in this universe.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what if anger is just another emotion like happiness is?
Absolutely. Absolutely. What if anger is just another emotion? And we may use it sometimes, we may not use it other times. And what if we could use it whenever we require to?
Yeah, but when anger becomes a pattern, that's when we have to look at it. That is anger creating, or is anger destroying us?
Right.
So that's when it happens.
Correct. So one is, if it is a pattern, which means you got to also keep watching when you're getting angry and then judge you to see if you're creating a pattern. But whenever you do get angry and you're present to it, that you are upset or you're angry, I will look at it and say, okay, is this working for me now? Okay, I don't think so. I'm giving it up. And sometimes I say, okay, right now I'm still choosing anger. I'm not going to give this up for another few minutes. Doesn't matter how long. And sometimes I keep choosing it again and again. Every few minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, I choose, Deepa, do you still want to be angry? Yes. Okay, cool. Keep going. No problem. And I don't judge myself for that. And maybe I give it up after 2-3 days, 2-3 hours. So giving it up becomes easier when you know that you're choosing it. And sometimes after like 20-30 minutes, I'm like, hey, I'm done with this. I give it up. So giving up, for example, anger and upset has been easier for me nowadays. After access, like in the past few years, than it had been earlier. Earlier, I had no tools to let go of anger. So I would think I have let go of it, but there would be so much of hurt and angst and upset about it. And even now, once in a while, I find, oops, okay, looks like I'm still upset about this. Okay, now what else is possible? What else is possible to give that up?
Yeah, it's like choosing in 10 seconds increment.
Choosing in 10-second increments, absolutely.
Yeah, and what I also get from this conversation, thank you for that, Kanika. That was such a wonderful question, actually. And Deepa, thank you for explaining that so beautifully. And what I also get from your conversation is that that's a space of when you are actually controlling anger, and anger is not controlling you, right?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
like you have the
Correct.
choice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
You have the choice. Anger doesn't own you, but you have the
Right.
choice whether you want to be angry and when you want to be angry and how long you want to be angry and with whom you want to be angry.
And at the same time,
right.
it doesn't define our being in this case.
Correct.
Yes.
It doesn't define who you be.
Yeah, I think I read it the other day. It was so interesting that what you are and where you are right now doesn't define who you be.
Oh,
I
wow.
thought that was something so beautiful, because how many of us have decided, oh my God, I'm at the wrong place right now and my life sucks. My whole life is finished. On that one moment, that 1 second of our life, we've defined how our entire life is going to be. So yeah,
Especially since we're in the end of 2018. Oh, I'm in the wrong place.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, a whole 365 days gone by, we haven't done as much as I thought I would. I haven't made as much money as I thought I would.
And again, who does it
God,
belong to?
I'm not good enough.
And who does it belong to?
Yeah, who does it belong to? So true.
And what if you
Talking,
could do gratitude? And what if you could do gratitude for who you've been the whole year? And what if December has no different significance from January, from a March, from an April,
yeah,
from a, September, from an any month? The significance is what we give it, right? And
yeah.
that's yet another reason for us to judge ourselves then.
Yes. And so much so that sometimes it's like, I remember last year, I have to share this, it was really funny because last year this happened when, there was supposed to be the demon call from Gary and Dean. I think it was the first time that they were doing it that I was aware of. And I was like, oh my God, it's going to be a demon call. And that means there's so many demons coming into this world and on this earth now in this new year. And I was like, or was it year before last? I don't even remember. I'm so
Yeah,
just
before.
gone.
Yeah, before
Year
last,
before,
because last
right?
year Gary
Yes, year
didn't do it.
before. And I'm like, oh my God, life is good. Life is really getting, so many challenges, and the more aware we are getting. And I remember almost forcing myself to feel the anger, to feel dissatisfied, to feel what everybody was supposed to be feeling on Facebook and on Instagram. And if I wasn't feeling it, I was like, oh my God, I'm not aware enough. So how many of us have actually done that, right? Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. And everything that is destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, not work on right. Shots, boys, and beyonds. Yeah, so
Since
Deepa, sweetheart, I'd also love to ask you, now that we're talking about all that dissatisfaction and all that stuff that we've decided hasn't been good enough, how much of that has to do with the money that we've created and with the wealth that we have? And if you can talk a little bit about the difference between having money and having wealth, creating money and creating wealth.
Yes, sure. Okay, awesome question. So very often very often people are looking at in a short-term thing as to whether they have money to pay for their next meal, to pay for their next rent, to pay for the next set of expenses and things like that. And what if we could have so much money, so much money, so much money that you could choose what you would like to spend it on? What if money didn't have to be the consideration that would make you decide what to choose, when to choose, and oh my God, I want to attend this or I want to go on this vacation, but I don't have the money. So what if that's not the situation you'd like to choose, and instead you'd like to choose from no points of view? Hey, I have a heck lot of money, and I'm like, okay, maybe I want to go attend this workshop. Maybe I'll choose this. No, maybe I'm not choosing. Okay, just choose from the lightness of what will create greater, with no points of view about it. Okay, so when we are willing to create from no points of view, then we can go to a place of greater wealth. When there is a significance of money or a wrongness of money, we actually create less. We create sometimes neediness of money. We may have enough money. If you actually track your assets and what you have, you may have money, but yet you are creating sometimes from neediness, because right now in this small space you have decided X amount in your account is not enough, or whatever that is. And that is what keeps people away from having wealth. Having wealth is looking at life as a wealth of opportunities, a wealth of what you would like to create, and abundance in so many different ways. As what is that Gary says sometimes, what if you had uh, too much, you
Too
had
much money
too much money and
enough to spend.
never enough to spend. So you, as you keep spending, you still have more, right?
Right,
So
right.
thank you for that.
Yeah, that's okay. You're welcome. Yeah.
So it's like, what if we could have that amount of money, where money is not what runs your life. Money runs your life, and you're chasing money. If you have to think every month, like, where's the next money going to come from? Where's the next thing I have to run around for? What's the next? How do I pay for the next bill? Then money is running your life. When
So
you
that's where you are coming from, a space of being needy.
correct, when you're
Right.
space of being needy, and sometimes people say money is not everything. And if I agree, money is not everything, but if you have decided that money is not everything, then money will prove to you in so many different ways in your daily life about the significance of money. If you say money is not important, it'll keep occurring in your life until you say, yep, money is important. You're right, actually. I cannot choose easily to choose whatever is fun for me because I don't have enough money to buy the clothes I want to, or whatever else it is, right? So, but when you go from a space of, okay, what would it take for me to have ease with money? What if you didn't have to have a comfortable distance between you and money? Then that's the place where you can start creating wealth for yourself. That's the first step, where you're not rejecting you based on the money you have, and you're not rejecting you based on the money you don't have.
Right, right. And you're willing to be whatever money you would like to be.
Correct. And the other thing is, sometimes if we make money wrong for us, we stop creating. We stop creating anything in our life, and we start calculating, should I do this? No, I don't think I want to do this right now. So no, because then if I do this, it's too much effort. And blah, 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 blah. So then we are actually stopping ourselves from creation because of so many reasons. And when you stop yourself from creating what you can create or what is easy for you and fun for you, you're actually strangling the amount of money that can come to you. And if you go the opposite way and say, oh my God, this is not generating money for me and I created it, then again, you're judging how much money you're creating. So
how does one come out of that? How would one, what can one do? And what are the tools that you would suggest that they could use to actually step out of that space of being in that, if I can say it, like we made ourselves into that hamster and the hamster wheel, just moving forward yet not moving forward. How do we get out of that? What tools do you suggest we could use?
Right. So some elements of wealth creation, there are 4 basic elements, and one of it is the willingness to receive, and another one is the willingness to have money, and then is the willingness to create, and the willingness to generate. So the willingness to receive money is how much you're willing to receive at any time. Say, let's look at the amount of money you are receiving in a year, then that is the maximum amount you're willing to receive that year. And you will say, no, I'm willing to receive $1 million. Okay, show me the $1 million you received. How much you received in the past year is the maximum amount you're willing to receive in that period. Can you change it? Of course you can. You always have choice. Okay, this is interesting. This is what I chose to receive in this period. What else is possible now? Start looking at receiving greater. Even if you have your comfort zone of receiving X amount, get to your discomfort zone so that you can outcreate you. There is only one person you can have competition with, and that is you. Because you cannot compete with other people. You're so different. So what if you didn't have to compete with anybody except yourself? And when you are being you can receive money anyways. Now the next aspect is the willingness to have money. So how much you have in your accounts now, how much you have in your assets now is the maximum amount you're willing to have. Okay. Can you change it? Of course you can change it. You can choose to have less sometimes. You can choose to have more sometimes. Again, with no points of view. And when you say, okay, this is uncomfortable for me to have more than X amount in my account, then be present to that and say, okay, what would it take for me to be in allowance of this and outcreate this with ease? Because everything is about outcreating where you are now. And everything is about you in the present. Don't look at past things that, you lost money there and somebody borrowed it from you, didn't return it to you, da, 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 da. Those are all things that keep us busy like a distractor. That'll keep us distracted, but keep us away from creation. So the third element is the willingness to create. So the willingness to create are the ideas that just open up for us, different types of ideas. Just go create. And some ideas are way ahead of their time. For example, they would probably come up in a few months' time, but you are already present to it now, and you're looking at, how do I create this now? And it's not taking place. And what if you could ask, is this something to be actualized now or in the future?
Right.
Because so often people judge themselves that, oh no, I tried this, but it didn't happen and that didn't work. And, well, maybe it was a different time to have created that. What if it's okay? And what if you actually having met those people, looking at what creation is like with them, itself something that opened up for you, right? And then the fourth thing is the willingness to generate. The willingness to generate is where these ideas that are showing up for you, these people who are showing up for you in your life, what would it take to go get to a place to, strategize, to interconnect, to do different things, make calls, write emails, whatever is required to get that out in the world, right? So
Right.
what if any one of these, if you're not willing to receive, not willing to have, not willing to create or generate, then you're actually pulling down the wealth creation that is possible for you. So
Wonderful.
look at each one of these and look at, okay, what would it take for me to outcreate this with these?
Right. That was so beautifully put. So any clearing that you can offer everybody here based on that? That maybe you used to change your reality, your financial reality, or maybe that you would like to gift everybody here.
Sure. And, okay, that is interesting. I'd like to give everybody a gift. Let me talk about that in a few minutes. And okay, so what if you could have more money than God? Would you allow it?
Oh yeah.
That would be a question I would ask everybody to ask themselves. Because when I heard that question the first time, I said, how can I have more money than God? I must have
Yeah.
less than him, And I was like, okay, how much money does he have? And there was so much of logicalizing going on for me at that time. And
Yes.
afterwards, I said, my God, this is just another way for me to have a glass ceiling over my head. Just, I'm giving that
Yes.
up now. Okay. So,
Yeah. And we call,
you know,
yeah, and it's like, yes, so true. Having something, somebody, and something that's greater than us, and always knowing that somebody else has more than me, and almost feeling secure because somebody else has more than me. So if I don't have enough tomorrow, you can give me. Yeah.
and that is interesting, actually, what you said, Chandana, just now. So it's so often people look at somebody who has more money than them and say, you have so much, you should actually be giving it to me, which is
Yeah.
interesting because
Yeah.
when they actually think that, they are looking at how not to create.
Ah, right.
Okay, and the other thing is about inheritance, for example. So when we look at, say, somebody is looking at inheriting money from some place, they actually slow down their creations because anyway, that
Yes.
money will probably come to me, and they keep watching, and they're actually slowing themselves down and watching when that money would come and how it would come to them, rather than just go create. So what if, you know, we all had to assume there is no one who is going to give you money, just you having your back, you creating is what is going to create greater for you. I would say
Right.
that
I
is a
think
great thing.
that is done. Yeah. I mean, you said that so beautifully because how many of us are just waiting for an inheritance, for us to get the inheritance and then we'll be rich,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Or somebody
So
else to
true.
give you the contract and somebody else to
Yes.
give you an
Yes.
opportunity. Somebody
So
else has to.
can you speak a little bit about that, about us where we are waiting for somebody to give us a contract or someone maybe to choose our class or somebody maybe who can come and take, give us a project or something like that, where we are
Correct.
in constantly where we are waiting.
Right. So when
And I'm
we
going to
slow
run and
ourselves
I'm
down,
going to, yeah.
so when we slow ourselves down and we're waiting for some client to show up or you're waiting for somebody to do the contract or whatever that is, what takes place is that you stop creating, you slow down your creating, you slow down your receiving, and you're hoping that that person will now open up something in your life that you are not willing to be there for. So, what if you could be the source of your life? What if you could be the source of your business? What if you could be the source, everything related to you, not other people? And
Yeah.
everywhere you made other people the source of your life, you all now like to destroy and uncreate it all.
Yes, please.
Right, wrong, good, bad, what, purple, nine, shots, points, and beyonds. Because, and this is something, see, we've done unconsciousness and anti consciousness from trillions of years, lifetimes. So this may still come up for us because we are not perfect. Just because we use the tools 20, 30, even 100 years doesn't make us anywhere perfect. We still have the stuff coming up from other lifetimes, from, just because it's there. That's it. And what if you didn't have to judge you for that and say, okay, looks interesting. This is what I'm choosing now. What would it take for me to change this?
Yeah, so this is really interesting when you say that stuff comes up from other lifetimes. I mean, okay, stuff is coming up from other lifetimes. So what do we do? One thing is to say, to acknowledge that, okay, this is not even stuff coming up from my past lifetimes, but we want to get rid of it. So then what do you suggest we do then?
Right. So every time you sense something, we can just say, okay, so everything this is, destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, cock, all nine, shots, poison, beyonds, and we don't have to define what it is and keep destroying and uncreating it until it starts cleaning up. And sometimes we have to really clean up for like months and months together for us to get someplace like, hey, my God, wow, finally I can see some light at the end of this tunnel. And then you keep moving forward, and it's so much easier and so much, expansive. And then later on, again, you may find another period where, oh my God, I thought I'd got rid of this thing. Don't tell me it's appeared again in my life. What if you didn't have to judge you for that? And just say, okay, how does it get better than this? Looks like there's a little bit out here. Okay, everything this is, I destroy and uncreate it all and keep moving forward. So when we create from here and now, we create so much more.
Right. And the creation isn't just, I think I was listening to one of the calls the other day. I don't even remember who this was. I think it was Shannon's call, and it was something so beautiful where she spoke about where most of us look at creation in the form of money, but creation shows up in, hi Indu, I love your smile. Where she said that, where she said that most of us are looking at creation in the form of money, but creation can show up in any form at all. But when we don't acknowledge that it's actually showing up, is when we don't receive and when we don't create more, right? So could you? I mean, it's like. So for me, initially, I mean, I don't know about you, Deepa, but for me, initially, I'd love to share this. For me, creation initially was about money. It was like, if I was getting an exchange with money, yeah, I'm creating. But I never looked at, I knew my life was changing. I knew my body was changing. But somewhere I was not willing to acknowledge that the change as much and as easily as I was willing to acknowledge the creation of when the money would show up. So what is that? Is that an energy that we've attached to money, or is that just me?
No, it's only you. I've never heard of anyone having this. Just kidding. So, actually, for me personally, I did not look at creation and money as interconnected. For me, I was just creating. And money used to come, and I wouldn't even know that, oh, okay, I'm creating so much. I have got so much of money. So it's, and somewhere actually in this journey, like if I look at, like a few years ago, there was this period, I was like, oh my God, I haven't created enough money in this period. Oh, whoa, this is like this. I said, oh my God, what's going on? This is so much of judgment. So it's so strenuous to look at this. What is this heaviness that is getting created here? And one of the ways that us people to look at is, first of all, is it yours? May not even be yours. And then the next thing is, what if money is a byproduct of creation?
Right.
You then be willing to choose creation with no points of view. And when you're willing to just create with no points of view, you may also welcome money. That may also show up. And what if you didn't have to judge if it didn't show up the way you expected it to show up? Right? So, what if you didn't have to judge the amount you're earning, you didn't have to judge the amount you're not earning. And when you're not judging either, and you're not judging what you're creating and what you're not creating, it's so much easier. Last year, okay, I'll tell you, let me talk about a little bit on creation. Last year, I wrote a few articles for a particular international online magazine, and I was so upset that it didn't get accepted. I was into the wrongness, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't. And they kept writing back to me to say, can you change this? No, this is not all right. That is not all right. And whatever I tried to fix, it just didn't work. I was really upset, and I was angry with me. And I had a look at this, and I said, hey, what is this about? And then, can I change this? And I said, okay, what if I didn't have to judge the situation? What if I didn't have to judge me? And then I got out of it, and it was like interesting point of view. I had this point of view. I started doing that. And that got me to a place that I didn't care anymore actually about
Right.
not
Yeah.
having those published. And
Yeah.
then I started asking, okay, what would it take for me to write with ease? And this year, a couple of my articles got published online, and I was like, okay, wow. So, it is possible. And you all have all talents, just whether you're willing to allow that to open up at that time. And, you know, you being in the question of what else is possible, I haven't even imagined, I haven't even considered that it is feasible for me to create that. Just try and uncreate it all. And there's so much each one of you is capable of. Each one of you is, you know, each one. What if each one of you is an infinite being, but is also an infinite possibility where you can create
Wow,
infinite,
that's so beautiful. Yeah.
infinite possibilities. What if you are the infinite possibility who could create infinite possibilities for other people too?
Wonderful. How beautiful, Deepa. I mean, actually, to consider what if we could actually get up every morning and consider ourselves to be that infinite possibility, not just for ourselves, but for everybody around us. I mean, what a gift, right? Yeah.
That is
And
true.
sometimes, like I said, sometimes you just need that little reminder that, hey, guy, not for yourself, for others. Can you just be a possibility today?
Right. I was,
It's like,
I was
okay, if I can do it for others, I could do it for myself too.
correct. I was
Yeah.
attending this workshop by a facilitator some years ago, and that person was saying, how many of you, when you get up, you're feeling yucky and horrible. And I was one of those who used to feel yucky and horrible when I got up. And he said, no, you got to be feeling happy and joyful. And I was like, oh my God, something is wrong with me. I don't feel joyful any of the days when I get up. Something is wrong with me. And once I remember some years ago, Gary was asking, then I started asking, okay, Gary, what is this about? Let me know in a way that I can get it. And the very next workshop I attended, which Gary was conducting, I had not even noted down this question because I was so embarrassed. I thought something is wrong with me. I shouldn't be even asking about this. That how come I'm the only one who seems to be feeling sad in the morning or horrible and yucky in the morning? So I didn't even think it was a valid question to ask. Okay. And
Yeah.
Gary asked, he said, how many of you feel yucky and horrible and, whatever, something like that when you get up in the morning? And I was like, me. And then he said, what if it's okay? What if, as a humanoid, you're actually present to all the judgments the humans have of you and that you're going to deal with in the day? And that's what you wake up with, the awareness of that. And what if you could just destroy and uncreate it all and start a new day again? I was like, wow, this is so light.
Wow.
That has been that
Wow.
that
And
clearing
that is so freeing, right? Yeah.
absolutely is.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. So true. Wonderful. Yeah. So does anybody have questions before we go on to our next segment of Dare to Bear?
Can I say something, please?
Oh, Bhagya, of course, sweetheart. Welcome. Thank you for
Yeah,
being on,
yeah,
darling.
yeah. Yeah, I was looking forward to this call, and
Oh,
I
thank
just
you.
want to tell Deepa, I applaud you for everything that you're choosing to do. And that's I think you are an example of an infinite being choosing infinite possibilities with the various classes and the different things that you choose to do. And when you're talking of creation and generation, look at Chandana coming up with this call. I mean, I think it is absolutely amazing. There's just one that I missed, and I really feel bad about it. But it is so wonderful, when you think about creating more or doing more, and you wonder whether, it is even possible to do that. And then you see somebody actually doing that. And so it is wonderful to know that it's a possibility for everybody. Thank you for that.
Thank you,
And thank you,
sweetheart.
Chandana, for that. And
Oh,
thank you,
thank you, my
Reshma, for your
darling. I love
question.
you. You are such an inspiration for each one of us.
Thank you.
And I know I say that for everybody on this call and for a lot of people who are not on this call too.
Thank you.
Yeah,
dear.
Gagn. Hi, sweetheart.
Thank
I
you.
love you.
So true. Thank you, Bhagya. And really, that's true. You've been such an inspiration for so many people.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's wonderful to hear you.
Thank you,
And I
Bhagya.
loved it when you said that there is no such thing as competition. I can never compute competition, but I do not believe that it can even exist. So thank you for bringing that up and putting it out again into the world at this time of the year. I think it will propel people forward with more ease. They don't have any competition
Yes.
except themselves. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for
So
letting
true.
me speak. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, always. You're always a huge contribution to these calls. You know
Thank
that.
you, sweetie. And I wonder when it's going to be your turn to be interviewed, and
I
who's
know.
going to be doing that?
I can do
I'm the one
interviewing.
I'm
who's
gonna do that
asking
next.
you all.
Can I do
Yeah.
that, please?
Yeah. So you
I
I
just
would love to be
Deepa.
asked.
so you
any
have to
questions
join the
by
queue, or we all have to join the queue, I guess. So maybe you can
thank
put
you.
chits and pick up one. That will be good. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, darling. Yeah, Gagn, honey, you had a question.
Hi, Deepa. Hi, Chandana.
Hi, darling.
Oh, what an inspiration you all are for me. Bhagyalakshmi, Deepa, Chandana. Thank you so
Our new CF.
Thank you.
Fabulous.
Thank you so much. Thank you. As you're talking about being you, so I would like to share something here. In fact, today morning only I was thinking about it. There was a time when I have to ask one question online now, I used to think so much. Whether I'm right, I'm wrong, should I put up in this call or not? And I used to be quiet for that. And today, when I'm taking calls and and people are asking questions from me, I said, yes, this is what every infinite being is, and how many times you get into the wrongness of like you start judging yourself and you get into the wrongness of that. Oh, should we do or not do?
So
Once
true.
you come out of it, everything has been changed for yourself also and for others also. Thank you. Yeah, I can't hear you. Deepa,
So
are you
true.
listening to me?
Yeah.
I think we are losing.
Yeah.
I think we are losing Gagn, or am I only losing her?
No, even I can't hear anyone. Hello.
Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wonderful. Any more? Thank you for that, Gagn. Yes. Thank you for that vulnerable share. I know so many of us have actually felt that. I remember the first time when I had to ask a question. I was like, oh my God, I'll have to use the words of access consciousness to ask my question. I can't say want, I can't say need. That's what I want to say. And constantly in my head, I remember at the mic, it was like, I can't use those words. If I use those words, I'm not being access consciousness. So how many of us actually judge ourselves by what we are saying, right? Yeah.
Right.
And then we start to recognize that it's more of being. Oh, thank you, darling. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, who's that?
This is Swati. Okay. The question is on anger. So a few minutes back, we were talking about anger and we said, what if it's not the wrongness? What if we are in allowance with the anger, what we have, or what we have shown to others? So the question is how to deal with the pain caused by our anger to others. You know, that creates a lot of confusion.
Yes. Okay, cool. So, shall I take this?
Yes, please, Deepa. Yes.
Okay. So one thing is destroy and uncreate. Okay. So I'll give you a few, 2, 3 clearings. All the memories of you having caused pain and anger to others, will you now destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, thought, purple, line, shots, boys, and beyonds. And what have you defined you to be for the other person? Everything that is, will you now destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, thought, purple, line, shots, boys, and beyonds. And if you keep destroying and uncreating what you are for the other person, over time, the image you project towards them of you will start changing. So, who or what are you for the other person? Everything that is, will you now destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, purple, nine, shots, boys, and beyonds. And all the definitions of who or what you were in the past for the other person, will you now destroy and uncreate all of that now?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, purple, nine, shots, boys, and beyonds. And all the projections, rejections, separations, judgments, conclusions, definitions, computations, calculations, and algorithms you have of you towards the other person, or where you've decided the other person has of you, will you now destroy and uncreate all of that now?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, purple, nine, shots, boys, and beyonds.
Wow, this is so light. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that, Deepa. We have lots of thank yous coming in. You're welcome, friends. Thank you for all of you being on. And any more questions for Deepa?
Is it possible to get these clearings in writing, the ones she just mentioned, the last 3 or 4?
Darling, you will get the replay. We will send the replay out.
Oh, great, great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thanks, Chan. Veenu.
Right? Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome. Veenu,
Yeah.
where are you? I
You're
can't
gonna-
see you. Wonderful to have you on, sweetheart.
Yeah, thanks.
So
Same.
nice. Great. Awesome. All right. Any more questions?
Deepa, thank you for the clearings. I mean, the last clearings. It was amazing.
You're welcome.
Right. So, should we go on to the dare to bear?
Okay.
Ready to dare to bear, Deepa?
Yes.
I have missed that section of your earlier
We started
workshops.
it from last time.
Ah, okay. So
Yes,
I'm
we just
happy
started it from last time.
I'm happy to
Just
go with whatever that is.
wonderful. So cool. So I'm just going to ask you certain questions, and it'll be great if you can give us the reply in just one word. Okay? So that's the trick to it. All right? So what are you aware of in the future of women?
Being you.
Cool. What are you aware of that is changeable and is changing on this planet?
Empowering yourself. Sorry, you said one word, no? It came as empowering yourself.
That's fine. That's fine. That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Thank you. And what are you aware of for the future of children on this planet?
Creating possibilities.
Right. And what are you aware of that you know you are changing, that you know is your potency that you have just come to acknowledge?
Infinite possibilities.
Wonderful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for that. And now we'll go on to another segment of Dare to Bear. Okay, so I'm going to give you one word, and if you can describe that word with whatever shows up for you in one word. Okay, so
In
creation.
one word, is it?
Yeah. So if I say creation, whatever shows up for you.
Generation. Could you hear me?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Generation.
Yeah, now I can. Creation.
Generation.
Sorry. Generation. What is generation?
Abundance.
What is choice?
Possibility.
What is abundance?
Joy.
What is sex?
Fun.
Relationships?
Fun.
Deepa.
Fun.
Oh, lovely. I love that. Thank you. And that was a dare to bear. That was like having a little insight into you. Thank you for that, sweetheart. Yeah.
Some of those responses were interesting for me. Relationships fun. I was like, yeah, okay, interesting.
Yeah, like really, relationships fun. Okay, that's a new one. Yeah, it's amazing, right? When we are like, when somebody throws that at us, how suddenly something shows up, and it's like, oh wow, where did that come from? Yeah,
Right.
and that's generally the energy that you be. Yeah. Now we are, I think, ready to wind up, and I think you had a special little gift for everybody who's online. So if everyone can put out their email IDs on this call, please, before we wind up, you will receive Deepa's free gift. And that's only if you are on this call live. So if you can start putting out your email IDs, we will get it and you will receive the free gift.
Should I say what that is, or shall we keep it as a surprise?
Yes, please.
Okay. So
or you can give it as a surprise, whatever works for everybody.
Yes. I think I'll have to say
Maybe
it.
give them just a little taster, a little feeler.
Okay. So I'm conducting this tele-series called 10 Keys to Total Freedom. So we just finished.
Deepa, I think you. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, can you just repeat it, darling? I think I lost you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm conducting an online tele-series called 10 Keys to Total Freedom. And I was looking like, okay, what would be a fun gift for everybody? And one of the things that came up was one of the calls, the next call that will be the fourth call. I don't remember the date it is right now. So I would like to gift it to everybody who's online right now. I'd like to gift the fourth call of that tele-series free to them. And some of you are already on that call. So then if that is so, then I'll gift you a 20-minute SOP free.
Wow, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow, that is so wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Deepa. Thank you, darling. I'm sure that will make everybody's new year just so much nicer and more fun. Wow. Beautiful. Thank you, darling. Reshma, please, honey, if you can save the emails and then we can send them out to them.
Yes, we will have it in the chat saved. So
Reshma. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, they saved themselves?
Yes, it's saved in the chats.
Oh, great. Awesome. Awesome. So thank you, sweethearts, for being on. And we look forward to next year, 2019, with our new guest, with another new guest. Yes, Deepa.
Let's do Chandana's interview in January.
No, not so easily. Let me have a little more fun with you guys. Then I'm all yours. Take me and do what you want to.
Start New Year with you, Chandana.
Oh, sweetheart, I would love that. That would truly be my honor. But I would really love to play a little more. And I'm free. You can catch me when you want to. So thank you once again, everybody, for being on. And we are going to have our next call on the 14th or the 15th of January with another very special guest. And for all of you who have enjoyed the call and have enjoyed meeting Deepa, she's from Bangalore. And like I said, she's a Talk to the Entities facilitator. She's a Being You facilitator. She's a Conscious Parents, Conscious Kids facilitator. And she's, what was that which drives me all the time?
Wealth Creators Anonymous. We had a question as to what that is about. Let me just share a bit of that.
Yes, please.
So often, when supposing a wealth creator facilitator has to work with somebody, you don't talk about who that somebody is. You don't talk about your clients outside. And that person might be making a phenomenal amount of wealth because they're in association with you. Unless they speak about it, a wealth creator facilitator doesn't speak about it. So that's why Gary came up with the title. One of the reasons he came up with the title of Wealth Creator Anonymous. Okay, and wealth creation is far different from creating riches. So, the advanced Write Riches for You facilitator batch, he said, okay, let's rename this group and create it as Wealth Creators Anonymous. And that was the history around that. Was that clear, or did we drop the call?
Wonderful.
No, it's beautiful.
Cool.
That was awesome. I did lose a little bit of it. I think there's something wrong with my network, but whatever I got to hear was absolutely beautiful. And thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me today, Chandana. It's such a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, my pleasure, honey. My pleasure, totally. I mean, I've had such beautiful, I had started it with Bhagya, which was a complete treat for me. And I say for me because it was my first. And I was like, oh my God, I have Bhagya on. And it's been so beautiful because every call has created something different. Every call has been a contribution to me. And I truly hope each call has been a contribution to each one of you, including all of you who are such special guests online. So see you guys soon on the 15th of January, and a happy new year, friends. Have a beautiful year ahead. Creating and having fun.
Happy New Year. Yes, Happy New Year to everybody. May you all create so much, so easily. It's lots of fun, ease, and glory. Wish you lots of glory in 2019.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.